smells amazing. Do you smell it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I grew that. Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are harvesting some watermelons. I am so excited about this because when we planted, I had no idea what to expect. I'm not super experienced with watermelon either. I mean, I've grown them here and there throughout the years, but never in this scale. I have 8 watermelon plants in this area, and you can see these are Crimson Sweets right here, and they are absolutely beautiful. We harvested our first one last night. I had to call my dad though because I'm a super bad judge to be able to tell if a watermelon's ripe. So I held the phone up to the watermelon and I was thumping on it. I'm like, does that sound ripe enough to pick? And he said it did, so we picked it and it was wonderful. A tad bit overripe. So I thought, we gotta get out here and at least pick the ones that are ready. So I wanted to show you some of the things to look for that I've learned to tell if a watermelon's ripe. Because unlike cantaloupe are easy because when they're ready, the vine slips right from the end there. It just slips right off when they're at their peak. Watermelons do not do that. I mean, the stem will look green and healthy even if the watermelon is overripe. So one of the first things you can look for, this is a heavy watermelon, is the underside. Where it sits on the ground, it usually has like a greenish white spot, and when that starts to turn creamy yellow, then you know it's ripe. Also, that sound when you knock it, when you thump on it, you want to look for like a low hollow sound, not something that just falls flat, like a higher pitched tinny sound. This one sounds really good. And then you can touch the blossom end. So not the stem end, but this end where the blossom was. And if there's any give at all, which there is a little bit, then you know it's ripe. The other thing that I hear a lot of people say is that you wait until the tendril right above the stem, so this thing right in here is all dried up and brown, but the experts say not to heed that advice. That's like the traditional advice, because sometimes that can happen well after the watermelon's at its peak and you'll be picking them when they're way overripe. So I usually just go with the way the spot on the underside looks like, the sound of the thump, and then the feel of the blossom end. So I'm going to pick this one. This is just like, I can't even explain what it feels like to grow your own watermelon and like actually have it form up like this and look so beautiful. So what I want to do, I've got 2 Crimson Sweet plants, 2 Sugar Babies, 2 Joyride, which are a seedless, and 2 Moon and Stars. I want to go through and harvest anything that's ready, get them in my cart, and then we will move to a shady spot, and I want to talk about each one of these varieties a little bit more. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot even believe that there were this many, what I think to be ripe watermelon out there. And there's still a whole bunch more that just need another couple of weeks to grow on and ripen a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is move all of these into the shade, and then we'll talk about each variety. Like this row right here is Crimson Sweets. These are Sugar Babies. I got 2 Joyrides today and 2 Moon and Stars. So let's load them up and find some shade. All right, we got all of the watermelon to fit in this cart, and we ended up grabbing the gator so that we didn't have to pull it all the way over here. I actually told Aaron this morning, like, I think I have maybe 4 or 5 watermelon that are ready to come off. I had absolutely no idea that I had this going on out there, which is so incredible to me. So I do want to talk a little bit about each one of these varieties and just share what I do know about them. I think I already mentioned that they've been in the ground for 73 days. We started them in June. It was already very hot, and so the seeds germinated very quickly and they grew really quickly. So even though like the Crimson Sweets here are in 85 to 90 days, so they haven't even reached their maturity day, but because they were put in so late and had all of that heat, I think they're a little bit ahead of the game. And they're all rated on a specific sweetness scale. It's a Brix scale, B-R-I-X. And the highest rating I could find for a watermelon was a 13. And I think that one was called Sugar Cube or something like that. The Crimson Sweet comes in at a 9.9. So the one that we cut into last night was really sweet. It was really tasty. And the interesting thing too about this is that we have a lot of watermelon growers in our area. We actually have a very favorable climate for growing watermelons, thankfully. But they have always told us down at the garden center, they'd bring us watermelon every year. And they said the way that they got the sweetest melons were they kept the water consistent while they were forming their fruit, because that is very important. They need a lot of water so that their fruit form up nicely and they don't get malformed and all of that. And then once they're up to a really nice size, those farmers would cut the water and they'd stop watering. And that way the melons would have a chance to accumulate their sugars, and I guess it would make for a really tasty watermelon, which is really, they were probably some of the most amazing watermelon I have ever had. I don't have the guts to do that, you guys, because like these have had the same watering all my pumpkins and cantaloupe have had all the way up to this point. They get watered almost every day because it's been so hot and windy. So I kind of wrote them off. I don't have them separated from any of those other crops. So I just thought, you know what, I'm not gonna have super tasty watermelon this year, and that's okay. Next year I'll know to put them in a different watering zone so I can cut their water. And then also, like, these are ready, but I also have all those little ones that are still growing, and I don't want to forfeit all those other little melons out there. So anyway, this is the only one I want to weigh today because this is, I think, the heaviest one. 18 pounds, and that's pretty much where I expected it to be. I thought it might be somewhere close to 20. I think that these average between 15 and 25 pounds. The other ones are a little bit smaller, but I think this is the one I want to cut into. So we'll cut into each one of these. This one feels nice and soft. The coloring is really good. So I brought my spoon so we could try it. But let me get this before I wield my knife. Let me get this to where it's solid. This is nerve-wracking experience right here. Please let it be red inside. This one might be slightly overripe too. Looks pretty good. It is slightly overripe. This is just like last night's. And that's why I thought when we cut into that one last night that we needed to get out there and at least get these bigger ones taken care of. I'm gonna try it anyway. It smells amazing. Do you smell it? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I grew that. It was so exciting, and it's all organic too, you guys. So I'm drooling watermelon juice. When we planted these, it was like barren out there, and I did not pay attention to amending the soil like I should. Like it was, I mean, we ran the drip system, and then at each planting site, I dumped a little bit of Espoma's land and sea compost and some Espoma Biotone starter fertilizer. Mixed it into the area, planted my seeds, and that's it. I have not fertilized these since then, and these are an averaged heavy feeder, so they may have benefited from me going in with some garden tone kind of midway, maybe like a month and a half after I planted them. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of got away from us, and it's only been 73 days, you know? So what is that, 2.5 months? Anyway, I think I should cut into one more just to see if I have one that's a little less ripe. I'm gonna line up all the Crimson Sweets in the back here so I can kind of unearth the rest of these. Oh, so proud of these watermelon. So the next one, these are sugar babies. You can see the difference in rind color. These are just like a dark green. I guess another way that people say they can tell that a watermelon's ready is if the rind color dulls a little bit instead of being super bright, it dulls. I haven't really paid attention close enough to know that. But these fall on the Brix scale at 10.2, so they should be a little bit sweeter than this. And these actually come from a much more compact vine, and they only produce fruits that are usually between 10 and 12 pounds. So they're really easy to fit in a refrigerator and such. So here we go. They're also 78 day. So they're the smallest or the shortest day. Pretty light in color. They're really nice texture though. Not as good as these. I just had too much water. Okay, let me try one more though. I wouldn't have wanted to leave these on the vine any longer though, honestly, because like they're starting to get that mealiness around the seeds. So I think this is just a product of just that too much water. So the Crimson Sweets can handle it, apparently. Maybe this variety can't. Let me just try one more, just out of curiosity. If nothing else, the chickens are gonna love me. Oh, that looks better. A little bit of like hollowness right there, a little cracking, but the texture looks really good. Oh, that was a one-off, hopefully. This is good. This one has a better texture than this one. So you win some and you lose some. This is a big win right here. Next up, I think these are Joyrides. I only got 2 Joyrides, which are a seedless, and 2 Moon and Stars so far. There are more on the vine, but they are getting completely smothered by my pumpkin plants. I did not space things out properly. I thought 6.5 feet was far enough, but apparently it is not. So anyway, this one is an 85 day and it's supposed to be an 11.2 on the brick scale. Ooh, that looks good. Look at that. That's the best texture in terms of like feel. There's no mealiness. Yeah, that's good.
The best?
I think Sugar Baby is the best so far.
Okay.
But this is like, sometimes texture wins over like intensity of flavor for me in watermelon. I just can't do mealiness. Like I could never eat this stuff that's around the seeds right there. Oh, but that's exciting to have a good seedless right there.
Yeah.
And these two for a seedless watermelon are supposedly, now I haven't grown many seedless watermelon, but they're supposedly incredibly vigorous and really resistant to a lot of things that watermelon vines deal with. And then the last one are Moon and Stars, which are these right here. And these I don't know about. So Moon and Star watermelon have a green rind with yellow dots, and they usually have a big one. So they usually have a moon with a bunch of little stars, and you can see this one's a little malformed. So I don't really know what happened there because this one has had the same exact water as the rest. It sounds a little high pitched. It's also a little bit smaller than I expected too. This one feels really tender. This is a 100-day maturity. I'm gonna cut into this one. And these are a 9.7 on the brick scale, and the flesh is supposed to be a fairly light pink. Looks pretty good. Bigger seeds, look at that. Look at the size of the seeds versus like Crimson Sweets. Look at that. That's something to consider right there. Like Crimson Sweets have very few seeds. Sugar Babies have quite a number of seeds. And then this one has quite a number that are huge. So let's give this a try. Probably my least favorite of all 4. Sugar Baby I think is my favorite today. That one melon, then Crimson Sweet, then the Joyride, and then the Moon and Stars. Erin, here, you should have a taste. Like the texture is good, the flavor isn't quite there, and that could be a water issue. Like too much water maybe. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad, but you're right.
Yeah, Sugar Baby.
Sugar Baby wins.
Yeah. Well, this has been really fun. I honestly envisioned only having like 4 watermelon to show you guys and to cut into, and it made me a little nervous. I'm like, well, what if they're all crappy watermelon? Because you never know really until you get them off the vine, especially with, like, I wasn't sure with the whole water situation and all of that. So anyway, these should keep for a while. They're better cold, and most people will tell you that as well. Get them in the refrigerator, and that kind of helps firm them up too a little bit. So I'm going to be storing some of these in the refrigerator or give a lot of these away because there's no way, 25 watermelon, that's a lot. And I'm going to give the less favorable ones to the chickens. But I do want to play a clip really quick for you guys of the area in the very beginning when we were just planting, just to remind you what it looked like out there versus what it looked like today, and really just kind of the faith in planting and just doing it, just getting out there and tossing seeds in the ground come what may. You know, you may not know a lot about a crop like this one. I don't know a lot about watermelon, but but I learn the best by doing it and just getting out there and either succeeding or failing and then just picking up little tidbits along the way. So anyway, I hope this video was fun to watch and I hope it was helpful. Maybe a little bit, you picked up a little bit of information that would make me happy. So I hope you all are having a great day and we will see you in the next video. Bye.